Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And tonight, make your own money, ladies and gentlemen. I know what a lot of you are thinking, but it's not that. Having a job is making your own money, but not that. We're talking about you, yourself, relying on yourself. The future is going to depend on your resources for you, the CEO of your life, income for life. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And hey, nobody ever said nobody needs a little bit of help. And welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. Stop struggling now, gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so much for being here, but please share the videos because we have a ticker going. In fact, I'm going to get a ticker on this screen one of these days because you have 1 year, 3 months before things are going to get worse. What do I mean by that? Inflation is going to continue to rise. Things are going to be out of whack because America has abandoned its citizens. I cannot believe what I saw today, for instance. America is going to buy beef from Argentina. I understand the cattlemen being a little upset by this. Why is the United States government not buying it from United States beef? Cattlemen? Why? I would be concerned. I'm a taxpayer. I am concerned. Just to show you what is going on, improvements on anything in America. Is there infrastructure improvements, ladies and gentlemen? Is there any way to decrease the cost of energy? I don't know. Maybe green energy would help. But abandoning climate concerns, 99.5.9% of all scientists says there's a problem. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have to find out the hard way. Nobody's coming to save you. And if the Senate and the House of Representatives get their way, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, other free books for school, free lunch for school, free breakfast for your kids, that could be gone. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, as I've always told you, you have to be the CEO of your life. And yes, it starts now if you haven't, but you only have a few options or opportunities, right? So, let's start with the first news. As we discussed on Monday, the 10-year yield did go under 4 as anticipated, and it even went further than even I thought. It went down to 3.95 today. Now, a lot of you might say, hey, Eric, that might be a good thing. Oh, no, it is not, ladies and gentlemen, because that yield going down means if you are holding money in a savings account or CD or whatever, that means your interest rate is going down. So holding your money at the bank is worthless because you are losing valuable money because of inflation. If inflation is 10%, and they're giving you 4%, 3.95, um, at the end of a year, you're negative. You're buying less with the same amount of money. So therefore, you have to find some other avenues of making money. Passive income, but the old-fashioned way, the boomers, those days are over. You no longer get to buy a house and be able to afford it and only have one person working and have two kids and a car and a house and still have change left over to invest. Them days are long gone. The boomers, man, they had 50 years, 50 plus years, ladies and gentlemen. And now look at what you're going to be left with. Nothing but disaster unless something drastically changes quickly. And unfortunately, I, for one, don't see it happening. So you're going to have to be proactive. And speaking of proactive, post retirement travel is in the house, going on the Mr. Worldwide tour. And he's an investor and he invests for himself. He's the CEO of his life after he has retired. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. After he made investments, bought assets. And remember, in this place, assets pay you. That's the only definition of assets. This other stuff about you can buy a car, you can buy a house, and all this garbage, those are not assets. Unless, of course, they make you money. Now, let's get into it because he's here. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday Night Live Stream. And he brings his tagline, hello all, let's do this. That's what we do here, ladies and gentlemen. We try to help you. So make sure you share the videos because tonight I'm going to, first of all, I have some other things. Let's Go Help. That's right. Matthew, Let's Go helps you get grants. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Now, post-retirement travel says another opportunity today with the stock market. Backed up the truck once again. Oh my. Oh my. The truck this is going to be a continuing theme. Let's just put this up again. If you don't have disposable income, you're going to be left out of the party. And again, I always have to say this because it's true. 80 to 85% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck during the month, so they don't have disposable income. You know what that means? The rich are going to get richer because unless you know how to make money off of what they do, the stock market, buying commercial buildings or some businesses, which again, most people don't have that capability. Unless you're in that game, but you can still be in the game. Post retirement travel tells you the game straight up. He backed up the truck today. And he backed up the truck on Monday too, I'm sure. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the people that are the wealthiest, guess where their playground, their casino is? It is the stock market. So it would behoove you to get into the stock market and learn. That's my suggestion right now. Now, for all of you who do need a little bit of help, there's a reason this is called Stop Struggling Now, and you got to go to findhelp.org. That's right. While there are funds available and hopefully some help from your state and federal government, whatever's left in the till, you better get it now. And it ranges on a lot of things. Put in your zip code, go look for yourself. Findhelp.org. It's that simple. So this is not hard. Again, I always liken this to all the people who believes immigrants, which it's hard for me to talk about immigrants not deserving whatever America has to offer because America was always, up until recently, the country that people came to for a fresh new start. They would swim. They would get on any type of raft they can get on, crossing oceans to get here. And now all of a sudden, what made us a unified family with many different cultures, races, creed, colors, religions, all of a sudden now, we want to go to that European thing where it's a set rules. And you know what? Funny thing, America surpassed all of the previous countries, 2,000, 1,000 years old. But because America said we have a melting pot, many different cultures and ideas, and look what happened. Numero uno with the diversification in America. Remember your wallet, remember your investments. They should be diversified. That should tell you all you need to know. So when you don't diversify, you start going down. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we have descendants of Europeans that think the EU's better. They think their countries that's thousands of years old, where people are in a caste system, the haves and the have-nots. They think that's good. America's not that. You're supposed to come to America and be in a haven where you have an opportunity. As long as you work hard, you have a chance. Now, with that speech in mind, I hope nobody has been affected by the government shutdown. Well, that is an understatement. There is people watching right now that's been affected by the government shutdown. There's just no way around it. There's millions of people that are not getting paychecks. And if this goes sideways, there's going to be millions of people without health care, like I started off this live stream talking about. Again, I don't, again, you guys, I've been in the health field myself personally when I used to do training and helping people work out and help improve their bodies, and then have to get them on a diet to put the right foods in their bodies for their bodies to perform properly. I'm just going to tell you right now, if you live in America, it was very hard over the last, I'll start saying around 20, well, let's just say 2020 and below. So if you were born after 1950s up until now, the boomers could have been born 60s and a little before. So they were eating food off the land. There wasn't all this prepackaged manufactured garbage, right? Which actually has chemicals to sit on a shelf. They didn't have the grocery stores where chemicals on the shelf because the shelf life was short. So they didn't have any reason to put stuff in your food so it would stay longer. That stuff had to be eaten up quickly and fast. Refrigerators. You know your grandma's ice box, what that looked like. Sheesh. No ice maker? And by the way, putting water in the ice cube box and then having to wait for it and then crack it, crazy. But then population said, forget that. We need to grow flowers, food, plants, vegetables, our meat faster. And after we make it grow faster by putting in chemicals that's bad for humans, why don't we put some steroids in, because we need these things bigger because we'll get paid more, says the rancher, says the farmer. And the FDA says you can use Roundup to get rid of weeds. Cancer causing agents, no problem. You can get some of Monsanto's bad stuff. Were they looking out for you then? No, but that all started in the late 50s, 60s, and until today. So when you say that you're going down the ship the wrong way, if you get sick, ladies and gentlemen, you don't know if something passes in the next week or two and it goes sideways, you may not have health care. Or you might have to be paying $1,000, $1,500 a month for your life, because that's how much it's going to cost for you to have your health care. Do you understand that you are going to have a problem? So I appeal to you, better start eating healthy foods. Just telling you right now. All right. Now, those living paycheck to paycheck, they're really feeling it so wrong. That's why we need a backup plan. Well, post retirement travel, you know, you already did the backup plan. And I see MDA just dropped in. He's done the backup plan. What's a backup plan? Backup plan means you make money off of your skill set. That's the backup plan. All right. Paycheck to paycheck, 85% of Canadians live paycheck to paycheck during the month. 80% of Americans in 2025 in 2024 living paycheck to paycheck. I already know it's 85 too in America at least. It's going to be somewhere between 80 and 87%, if not more, are going to be living paycheck to paycheck, and getting millions of people laid off is not helping because they don't even have a paycheck now. And their severance pay is going to be for a couple months, maybe 5 months, best case scenario. And after that, you're going to have to somehow pay 300, 400, 500, 1,000, 1,500 for your health care and your children's health care. I mean, this is bad. This is very bad. So MDA gets to start it off. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. Man, another investor's here. Some of the wealthiest don't believe in diversification. Hey, there's always a few knuckleheads, but I would say I don't know of any of the wealthy who just invest in one thing. Now, but I will say diversification is in the eye of the beholder. Because as we know, if I buy stocks, I buy gold, but I buy gold on the stock market. Is that the same or different? If I buy platinum, but I buy it on the stock market, there can never be one. In fact, I need to look up who is the 1, 2, or 3 people that are wealthy that goes, oh, I just put my money in soybeans. I don't think so. I just put my money in gold. I don't think so. The reason why is very simple. If I have my money in any of the commodities, I have to sell the commodities to make money, right? Most of the time. So therefore, I have to have some passive income coming in order to be wealthy. I have to have some assets that pay me. Now, if somebody says I'm going to be in the commercial market, commercial real estate, well, they know how that's been going over the last few years. Businesses are saying, bye bye, I'm not going to pay you. You're not getting your money. There's an issue. Some people would say, okay, Eric, let's go with something else. Well, what else is there? Real estate is the same as commercial. If there's a lull in the real estate game, then you have a problem, i.e., 2006, 7, 8, 9, problem. Lots of places went bankrupt. Banks should have went out of business, but the government saved them with our tax dollars. So again, be very careful. I do not believe in what MDA is saying. I say diversify. Mandatory in today's world. And by the way, speaking of diversifying, I got to ask somebody, why are United States corporations also a corporation outside of America? That is diversification. There's a reason. In case things go sideways in America, then they are making money outside of America, outside of the USA jurisdiction. These are the type of things that you should be thinking about yourself. Do you have property? Do you have bank accounts? Do you have a business outside of American jurisdiction? Asking for friends of the SSN Nation. Brian P., Mr. Dividends in the house. And yes, the answer is I am checking emails. I have something up already. Hopefully, I did. I thought. Guess I don't. Oh, there was something I wanted to talk about, but good grief. But anyhow, Mr. Dividend is here. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. And he's an investor, ladies and gentlemen. He says, happy day, Eric. Happy day to you. I hope all is well with you and your family. Yes, things are going in a positive direction. Thank you so much. Happy day, SSN family. And oh, yes, the freebie. Smash that like button. That's right. It's a freebie. And by the way, I want to thank a few of you for checking out your debt resolution. Tracy hit me up, said some people were looking for debt resolution. So I'm very happy to hear this, because if we have 85% of the people in America, or 80% as it is right now, living paycheck to paycheck, that means debt resolution is needed, because we do have all-time record high credit card debt. So let's get to that. First, we go to findhelp.org in case you need some help. That's right. For doesn't matter your age. If children need help, there may be help there. Depends on what's your zip code. Put it in. That'll tell you a lot. All right. So, Brian P. Let's see. There was something that I had up. There was bankruptcy. Prima Lynn Capital Partners filed for bankruptcy amid debt struggles. That's right. They filed for bankruptcy after months of negotiations with creditors. The company, which provides financing for auto dealerships serving subprime borrowers, listed estimated assets and liabilities, each 500 million, in court documents, Northern District of Texas. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know those 8-year, 10-year loans, and they said, oh, don't worry about it. Take this 7.5% interest on a $50,000 vehicle. Take that. Pay the $3,500 a year in interest only. $300 a month goes towards interest only. Now you got to pay down that principal. So you have the average price of $750 to $790 per month. And that doesn't even include your insurance. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a shocker. Just like credit card companies going out of business will not be a shocker either. This is just a matter of time, because these additional layoffs, people aren't going to be paying their car notes, their mortgages. We're talking about like 1 million, 2 million people. I mean, this is just sad. All right, Brian P. Thank you for that intro for the Prima Land. They did their thing. I'm talking about some of the greatest investors that ever lived. Peter Lynch, Warren Buffett, Stanley Druckenmiller. Okay, MDA0214. You're getting carried away with this right now. Okay. You're getting carried away. Carried away, I say. All right. I don't know what you mean by this, because I don't know what you mean. So Warren Buffett and his Berkshire Hathaway does investments in insurance companies, food companies, beverage companies. That is diversification in itself. Those are all separate companies. Peter Lynch, Druckenmiller, the same thing. If somebody has a stock, that's diversification versus a business, which also is diversification. All that is diversification to me. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket. They're not going, hey, I'm just going to invest in insurance companies only. I'm not just going to have one stock symbol. I'm going to have a few stock symbols. That's diversification to me. So if you say it's the stock market, well, the stock market has many, many, many different facets, as you know, because you do trading, right? So we're not thinking Buffett and those guys are doing trade. I don't think he's doing like day trading or anything, but or swing trading or any other type of trading other than he's buying stocks and holding. That is his thing, right? That's what he always talks about. But Think about stocks and think about there's options, right? There's also something called warrants, right? And so when Buffett recently bought, he bought these two what was it? Yeah, something that doesn't make sense. DR Horton, knowing full well the housing market is on shaky ground, knowing full well DR Horton is like garbage, but nonetheless, the story was he bought into DR Horton, but did he really buy stocks of DR Horton? That's the $1 million question. He said, I'm diversifying. He says, no, hell no, I'm not buying your stocks, but I might buy some of them warrants you guys got. That is the difference. But drunken. What happened? Very interesting. I don't know. I must be doing something that causes me to go mute when I'm tapping around on these keyboards. Thank you for letting me know. Um, let's go. Here we go. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, it must be something because it happens way too often. So it must be something. There must be a hotkey or something I have that's closing it off because I am not touching my mic. That's for sure. But it keeps happening. So maybe I have to pay attention to some key I'm touching up here. There must be something. Anyhow, we got to talk about that. But in the chat room, for everybody that watches this on replay, you see Tracy, Tracy .sharpe with an E at the end, SHARPE at moneyladder.com. 1 year to 2 years, you can get your debt in order. Do not file bankruptcy. Don't have to worry about debt collections if you handle it now. And that way, at the end of that time, you are back in business with good credit. And we need you to be at 775 by 1 year, 3 months. And it's almost going to be in another 10 days, 1 year, 2 months. By December 31st, 2026. And I always give you runway. So make sure you handle the runway. Now, there's something else too, because Let's Go helps. You want grants, you want something that can help you out. Well, hold on a second. Let me do this because I want to do this as well. Because again, you're going to have to make something of your own. You don't get to just sit back and relax after what's about to happen over the next few years. Every man, woman, child could be for themselves. The government that the United States put in place after the Great Depression with social services and help for the people as a country should has been in place until recently. Things are now going in reverse. Trying to remove that help is very bad. All right. So if you're not going to take it seriously, that's on you. But here is something I wanted to show. Matthew Lesko. Now, do you guys recognize this person? About 11 months ago, he was here in the SSN Nation. You saw him. In fact, I'll unmute this. Let's see what it sounds like. I don't know. Can you guys hear this?
$18,000 to every adult in America in the year 2025. And no matter what they do in the White House, that money's going to go out the door. But you can't find it in Google. That's the problem. That's why I started up letsgohelp.com. That's a community of 15,000 people that are all working together to help each other take advantage of every government grant and benefit they're eligible for. We help each other. It's a loving community. Not trying to rip you off so we can make money. No, you can now find programs like get $100,000 to open an ice cream store, or $200,000 to buy out your boss. Or how about this? Get $40,000 a year, not like paying $40,000. You get $40,000 to get a $100,000 a year job when you're finished. Wow, where else are you going to get that? Or how about this? $10,000 to pay back rent, mortgages, or utilities, or even $50,000 to pay back taxes. Wow, I know a lot of people need that, but you can't find them in Google. Housing, how about $100,000? Actually, $150,000. It's up to that. It's different in every state. That you don't have to pay back to help you buy a house, or $50,000 to help you fix up a house, or how about $30,000 to take care of a loved one? These are programs I know. One-on-one help as much as you need. There's live videos every day, 3 or 4 hours. You can ask questions to these people. We give our own grants, and have all the help you ever need to apply for every government grant and benefit you're eligible for. I know the government shouldn't be doing this. I waited for 40 years to do it. They never did.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you saw that or heard that. I don't know if you did or not. Hopefully you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Letsgohelp.com. That's right, LESKO help.com. And there is a membership. And there's lots of people that help other people. Part of the SSN Nation way. Helping other people, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you have to do out here. Those that can help others, because a rising tide is what lifts all ships. If you don't have a rising tide and you're drowning people and there's no boats to save anybody, that means only a few people will be left for the ruins. A lot of empires crumbled because they decided to have a few people at the top versus a group, a large percentage of their population also rising. Roman Empire, USA, exactly the same. So we'll see what happens. Let's Go Help. He does have a membership, the $20 per month, or you can spend $60, $70 and get a year membership. You just go to letsgohelp.com. LESKO help, LHELP.com for everybody on podcasts. So again, these are the things that help people. And this is what we have to do out here. Because this is going to be very bad if you do not heed the warning signs, and what's actually happening. With your own two eyes, you see the cost of food prices rising. What are the staples? Most people need gas. They need electricity. Gas in a car or natural gas and electricity. You need a well-paying job. Those are harder to come by. And you need health care. All right? So if you don't have those, then you are in jeopardy of a problem. So you need to fix all of those facets, because all it takes is that you don't have coverage because you lost your job. Then they tell you it costs $1,200 a month to get it. Then you are not able to afford it. Then you get sick. Next thing you know, you're at the hospital. Next thing you know, you have a $50,000 to $100,000 bill. And then the next thing you know, they're trying to figure out how they can extract that from you. So it just keeps being a bad cycle. And what if you get sick again? And the insurance companies, if they have their way and they remove the ACA, that means a pre-existing condition will not be covered by insurance. Do you guys understand? This is going to be very bad. Very bad. So, again, do not take this very lightly. You should be looking at the warning signs. They're here. All right. Now, oh, I should have done something else too. You want to improve your credit to get to that 775, then you need to use one of the best credit monitoring systems ever. Smart Credit. All right. That is one of the best. Smartcredit.com. I'm going to give you guys a link. Why? So you guys can go check it out. That's why. And that gives you a great way to your hiring index score, your 3 credit bureau scores. It also will tell you when is the best time to make your payment per month or each month. And there's usually a promo. And I'll put it in the chat room as well. Okay? So that way you guys have no excuse. And usually, oftentimes, that promo is only for $1 or $2 for a few months, just so you can check it out, see if it's worthwhile. That helps out greatly. So, again, don't say anything about that as being bad. That's good. And on top of that, everybody that's at your address is covered just in case somebody does identity fraud, identity theft. You have like a $1 million coverage also for that. So that helps out. They have the FICO 8 for cars, which again, I'm not a big fan of buying new cars at all. But, you know, you might as well, that they have that index there as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go find out a little bit more. I have something else for you. Speaking of the topic at hand, make your own money. You're the CEO of your life. Well, we have some people, like I said, that mess around where the wealthy people play, the stock market. I myself never have done options, even though I've done all different type of businesses and things of this nature, but I just never could wrap my head around it. And then now I'm sitting there studying and studying. And then somebody said, hey, check out this Candle Bible PDF. So now all of a sudden, all this stuff that's going up and down and colors and all this, now it means something. These indicators, the candles, I'm sitting there like, what is that? I didn't ever know what it was. Now that I started messing around, I did the gold Autobot trading. Then I realized the gold Autobot trading, okay, it was nice for the first 2 weeks or so, but there was a reason, because gold was doing what it's doing now, going down a little. The Autobot, when it goes down, as it turns out, overnight, it was working perfectly fine. But when it goes up, it does not work so well. But that only led me to what MDA0214 said. You can forget that bot. You can actually study yourself. But that's what I started doing. So you guys know what I'm going to do right now. The Candle Bible somebody gave me, a PDF I'm putting in the chat room. And I want to say one other thing. Now that I know what that bot basically does, I actually implemented it into some of my strategic plays when I'm pretty sure, just like a poker player would be, pretty sure that once I know damn near 90% plus that I know what the market move is going to do. And that generally means it has to be sliding down a little bit. I'll start the little bot, XAU USD. And guess what? It did exactly what I wanted it to do in a short period of time because there's no way I'm getting in that many trades. That's what the Autobot does. So many trades within a minute. It's crazy. So that actually helped. And then, of course, I can shut it off and take some of that profit. So it worked out very nice on the demo modes, I got to say. So I haven't given up the full ship on that, but it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right. So, anyhow, the Candle Bible, I put a PDF down below. That's right. It's extensive, ladies and gentlemen. But with anything, you have to study. Just like investing, you have to study, research. Same thing here. I'm going from scratch. I have to study. I've been watching videos. I've been studying. I've been reading this Bible candle and then going to actually look at charts. And I'm like, oh my God. Just like MDA0214 said, the chart works on all aspects of different things. It could be currency, it could be in the Forex, it could be the stocks, it could be any chart. It still has the same type of movements, same. So I said, okay, this is starting to get good. Well, I will say the other part that my friends, I was studying without indicators the whole time up until last week or so. And so I was looking at patterns just because that's kind of how I think. I'm like, there's patterns. You can see it. After you watch it and after you see things, you're like, wait a minute. And after you're playing around with the demos and you're like losing, winning, losing, and you're like, I think this is what's going to happen next because I've noticed this is what's happened. So the funny part is now that I'm looking at all these people talking about signals. And I'm sitting there looking at it like, I don't need the signals, the indicators, because I already, in my head, I already started going, well, I'll go back here and look for the high, look for the low. I was already doing stuff that indicators do naturally. So if somebody wants to learn about trading, I would say forget the indicators first. I would just go and do some trading in a demo mode first. And then see if you notice patterns. I mean, some people want to skip to the front of the line. Me personally, I'm like, I don't like skipping because if I can learn the basics from the ground up, that means I have the ground up and I have a ceiling that's unlimited. If I start halfway using things that help me and I don't know why, then I feel I'm missing a piece of a puzzle that can help me better. Full scopes. So I find it very interesting that I'm just looking at stuff and people are like, yeah, you see this, put a line there, put a line there. And I'm like, okay, but this is what happened. That's what you would have done there. This is what happened. That would have done there. I don't need an indicator. I already seen this for the last month. I just was taking notes, in mental notes to go, okay, this is what happened. This is what I was looking at. Now that the indicators are in play, I'm like, I've seen this already. I know what's supposed to happen. And it doesn't happen 100% of the time. It just, like I said, I want to get up to 80%. That's it. Right now, I'm like at 60, somewhere between 60 and 65. I haven't written it down, but guess. But I'm not at 80 because I can't get it 100% off of each movement. I'm pretty close, but I need 80. All right. I'm an old poker guy. So I need a high probability that I'm going to win. I don't go for this, I'm good enough. No, we're not taking participation trophies. We're actually trying to make money, right? So, anyhow, I put the link in the chat room. Everybody on podcasts, I'm sorry. You're going to have to go to stopstrugglingnow.com and I'll have a link that you can download the PDF there. Hopefully that helps. All right, let's go. We've got a lot to talk about. And oh, by the way, starting tomorrow, I will be doing live streams. That's right. Speaking of this, I will actually start with the live stream for the PDF. I'm going to be talking about it, even though I'm layman. I'm a professional at this. I haven't done professional trading because now they told me about prop farms. You're back. Thank you. Their portfolio is so big that they have to spread the capital out. But even with that being said, they only invest in stuff that they fully understand. Yes, MDA 0214, that is one of the things I agree with this. Great investors will not. That's why, just like me doing what I'm doing, I do not skip. I don't want to know about other stuff that says, oh, it's easier, you do this, that, and the other. No, I wanted to learn from ground zero. So my friends are like, they do trading. They paid thousands of dollars and in these groups and traveled to in person. I mean, I didn't realize this was huge. And so they're the ones that use these different indicators and it helps them greatly. But I'm sitting there talking with them because right now I'm putting on a big screen, right, 85 incher, and we're sitting there talking about it, and I'm like, they're putting charts up, and the charts don't have indicators, right? So I said, I get up on the thing, and I'm like, look, that's an entry point right there because of this two candles, and then there's a color change here, and traditionally it does this. So I'm telling them, here's the entry points. Look. And they're just like, yeah, that's what we do with our indicators. And I'm like, what indicate? There's none. But they're telling me, oh, we put our thing up here in the morning, we mark it up. Then there's explain all this stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, but this is what happens to me. So again, learn from the bottom. Don't be too anxious to throw your money away, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Because, like MDA says, the best people study, research, understand, because you need to know why. Why, if this, then that. Just like a computer. If this happens, then I know this happens. Or, again, since it's human beings, it's not a linear thing where it goes if this, then that. It's just that 80% of the time, 75% of the time, 95% of the time, if you can figure out what those movements are for that percentage, then you should make money. And that's the way I look at it. It's just like I said, it's a numbers game for me. So I just got to get better. And I'm going to keep trying till I can hone it in to where I am very confident that I can do 80%. That's my goal. 80% during the day. I do different movements. In fact, I was doing it right before I came on. I was in demo and I'm sitting there watching a on the XAU USD right now, low volume, but yet and behold, it was still shifting enough up, shifting enough down, three candles down, but it showed it came back up, and I'm sitting there like, oh, this is gonna rise. So I said, okay, let me get about 150, $200. Sure enough, 180. Click out. I'm like, okay, I'm liking my odds. They're getting better. I'm getting better, and I'm just free trading. I'm not using the bot at all, but the bot I still am gonna probably use. By the way, um, speaking of what MDA says, I do like that because that's the hallmark. Remember when the Big Short, right? That movie. And remember how he was so adamant. He's sitting there saying, "Hey, all this stuff is gonna blow up for years ahead," and people were like, "Never. That won't happen. You've lost your mind." But he finally found somebody else that said, "We're gonna back this play." And they backed his play, even though everybody else was saying, forget about it. Don't do it. He's crazy. But he did his research. He did his homework. He saw everything that was going down. And then when it did, the man makes out like a bandit along with all those others that believed in what he was saying. But for the most part, everybody else was, nah, he's crazy. Not going to happen. So that's how it goes. But that's what you have to do, ladies and gentlemen. You have to know what's good for you. You can't go by what everybody says. You got to make sure it works in your brain because your fingers are the ones that's going to be making the moves. You're not going to have any help. And that's the idea of tonight. Make your own, ladies and gentlemen. You need to make your own. There's one thing that's going to definitely be here, the stock market. That's definitely going to be here. That is not going away. The stock market will never go away. It's in every country. That's how corporations make money out of thin air. They are never going away. That means there's always going to be corporations on the stock market. That's right. Good to hear, Eric. So you're getting on the ring. Let's do it. Go for it. Exactly. I'm doing it, man. It's happening because my friends were always right. They were like, you would be good at it. But I didn't understand. Like I said, those candles always was, my mind was just like a blur. It was like, okay, I don't know what that means. Then they would just, um, buy, sell, option incomes. They're doing all this stuff. I see charts on the screen, lines. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm like, you guys can have it. I'm not doing that. Now I'm sitting here like, Jesus, if I'd have known how this actually worked, then I would have taught my daughters. I would be trying to teach everybody. When you're 15, 16, 12, because just like anything else, the sooner you get into it and you learn it, then the longer you do it, the better in theory you should get. So the sooner you learn it, the better you'll be when you are making money that you can put investments into. And again, this makes your own money independent of anybody. Nobody can stop you with the job. Nobody can say you're fired. Nobody can say you're laid off. And now you can make your own money and you have other vehicles that you can use to put your profits into and buy other assets, right? So imagine if somebody was 18 years old and somebody says, well, I'm going to go to college. They say, okay, fine. But can you imagine somebody waking up in USA at whatever time they want, like 9? They're like, okay, I'll use an example for me. When I went to school, my first class was going to be like 10, something like that. And on some days I didn't have, first of all, I was crazy at school. Let's just put it that way. I had school like Monday, Wednesday. I'm off Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, right? So I would be able to make investments if I knew what I was doing at the stock market at 18 years old. I could have been in my room when the stock market opens for like the first hour, 2 hours making money. I mean, I would have never had to leave the dorm and then go and do schoolwork, and not even every day. So again, it would have changed the dynamics of my life a little bit. All right. In fact, I would have been doing it now for over 40, 30, 40 years or something if I'd have done it when I was a kid. But again, my parents didn't do that. They bought stocks, right? So I knew about stocks and things like that and dividends and all that, but not how to actually make the money yourself using the stock market. This is new. Yeah, so we're going for it. Post-retirement travel. It's happening. So what happened to your bot? You get to keep it. Yeah, the bot was I bought the lifetime. So I get to keep it for life. And I'm using it. So like I said, I know that it works. And in fact, you weren't here the other day. I got to show you my what I'm going to be doing. I'm still going to promo the bot, but you have to where's my stuff at? I'm still going to do it, but the bot, once you understand how it works, well, it's based on being within a certain range, right? But it's best if it's trending down. All right. Trending down, you win. So those times when we were winning, which I should go back and pull up the charts, the times we were winning overnight, because remember, it was auto bot. We go to sleep, wake up, and we see, oh, there's 1,030 in there. Oh, it's 400 and some dollars. It was just hook or crook because the stock market trended down. And it just so happened, just like right now, if we would have started on, what was it, Monday, and the stock market dropped, we would have had a huge day on the Autobot, right? Because it trended down, huge. So instead of 1,000 something, it might have been 2,000 something or more. But when it, for those week or 2 weeks when it was trending like down or sideways or whatever, then when it went up, all of a sudden fortunes changed. Because the next day we get up and it's like, why is this negative 450, I think it was, or whatever it was. It was like, that's weird. The stock market went up. I mean, dramatically. It was like, let's just say at the time, let's say it was 3,500. It was like 3,650, 3,700. It's like, oh, it must have been a good day. And then you're like, wait, what's happening? And that's because I didn't know that it was actually on a downward trend as the winner because we were sleeping. I wasn't up paying attention. I was just wake up, winning, wake up, winning. And so that's why we have two bots. And so I'm utilizing it. So I'm keeping it, but it's based on, so let's get it straight. So what I've been doing is I've been using what I've seen so far and experimenting, and I say, okay, whenever I think there's going to be a huge drop, because I have my RSI on now, I use that even though it's real time app. It's not any real advantage. But when I feel there's going to be a real drop, even with a small uptick and a downtick, uptick, downtick, then I feel there's going to be a drop, then I cut it on because it can buy so many so fast. And sure enough, when it starts going down, because I'm into so many trades, just the mere 3 or 4 ticks changes things 50, 60, 70, $100 within seconds. So you just gotta, for me, I'm just like using it for multiple trades for this time frame just so I know what's going to happen. So I've been testing my skills that way too, because I want that to be higher than 80%, which may not be possible. But if I can get that straight, I implement that and do my trades, I think, hey, we're in and out in mere minutes. And we have the highest one I've gotten so far was around 14 to 1,500 in less than 1 minute. Because it dropped as expected and it trended downward and the bot did its thing. Poof, poof, poof. Next thing I know, it's seemingly probably 2 minutes maybe. But, and then I just closed it out, took the 1,500, 1,400, whatever it was. It's a beautiful thing. I said, okay. And I've done that a few times. So I said, okay, I think I found how the bot's going to work for me. I'm going to keep doing it. So it worked out. All right. Here we go. More than all of that, you need patience. I'm trading now, but I got the chart on one screen while I play chess and look up companies. Oh, MDA, that is the other thing. Patience. You're exactly right. There is no reason to just do trading just for the hell of it. You might as well just wait until you feel comfortable with your entry. That is my advice that he's saying too. From what I'm seeing from myself, I am sitting there doing the same thing. I'm just like, I'm not even going to trade. The bot thing, because it does trades all the time, it made me think that I should be in a trade. Now I'm just like, I'm just going to wait till the thing sets up how I like to see it set up and then go for what I know. That's what I'm sitting there doing. I'm like, there's no reason to sit there and do this. It's going to happen. I'll just sit here for about 20, 30, 45 minutes, see what happens. And sure enough, usually within 10, 15 minutes, something happens a trade that you should be in. And then today, I was doing I was testing, uh, I don't know how to say it really, but within a short area, going up, buy, going down, sell, right? I said, you know what? I'm going to see if I'm improving. So even with the short window, I said, I'm going to try and see what happens. And sure enough, because the swings weren't that large in either direction, but I was successful, about 180 to 190, somewhere in there. But I did multiple trades because I was actually going with closeout, change color, closeout. Okay, I think it's going to go up just, maybe. I don't do the ticks and I don't do the pips, but it's just enough. It moves up, and I'm like, okay, there's another $100. But the biggest one I did was short, was 188. The other ones I did like 50, 60, things like that. So, if you're talking about $300, something like that when I did it all, but it was all within a small window. I just wanted to see if I can do it because I'm testing myself. I'm like, you know what? I think even in this small window, I think I know what's going to happen. And so let me see if it happens. And then I'm saying, okay, let's test it out. And sure enough, I got lucky. So this is what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I agree with that. Patience is a virtue. I teach my daughter, but trading is risky. Knowing how to read financials and evaluate companies is more valuable than trading. Well, it depends because I'm not dealing with that. But yes, if you know how to read financials, evaluate companies, that is very, very helpful for investments. I agree 120% on that. That's what you should be doing. So, Eric, are you staying with the Forex trading then? Yes, I am doing it. That's right. Just keep it simple and known big volume pairs. Exactly. Too complicated for me. I stayed with option weekly trading, selling puts and calls with blue chips. See, I haven't gotten into that yet. One of these days, maybe. But right now, I'm studying heavily on the other thing right now. Trading is very risky. You can safely make a great income selling puts and options. Everyone have a bad trading day. It's inevitable. That's right. Like I said, I'm expecting 20%. My own goal is 20% losses is acceptable. As long as I can win 8 out of 10 times. If I lose 2 times, that's fine. Out of 10 times, if I can win 8, lose 2, that's my goal. And right now, I'm getting better. I'm probably at I would say if I had to rate myself, I'd probably be at 60, 65%. But you guys don't know how a, ACD I am. So what I'm going to ultimately do is I don't know, there's probably a way you can do it by history or something, but I'm going to actually start writing my trades because I'm it's just that's just how I process. I'm going to start writing down my entry, exit, and how much I made. I'm going to keep track. So now I'm going to do enough 10, 10, 10, 10, and I'm going to keep doing it. And then after I do like a few, I'll see out of 30, I better see 24 wins. That's what I need to see, right? Now, I'm not expecting that right now, but if I can get even 18 to 20, I'd be happy, right? But I'll start writing it down. So that's going to start sometime in the next, probably tomorrow or the next day. I'm going to write down each one because I want to see it. I just have this visual thing. I just like seeing it. That's all. ACD. Can't help it. There's always going to be a bad day. That's right. Hey, that's the variables. Just like I tell everybody when they say, hey, let's go do poker. I want to be a professional poker player. I said, hold up. Money management. That's what I always tell them. Number one, money management. I don't care how good you are because you're playing against other people. It does not matter. The the uh the percentages are the percentages. You can't fade that. So There's nobody that wins 100% of the time. There's nobody that wins 90% of the time. There's not even a hand that you enter. There's only a few hands you can even enter in that gives you more than 70% chance to win with no cards up. So most hands, before we even hit the table, you're generally going to be 60-40. Best case scenario. Other than that, it's all smaller. So when the first three cards come off, now again, you're still going to be generally within a 60-40, 40 to 60 range. So somebody will be 55-45 or 60-40 or 65-35. You'll be outside of that. But remember that 35% chance of winning is still 35. The 10% chance of winning is still 10%. So those percentages are always there. They don't just disappear. So every hand you play, I treat it just like every trade you make. Just because I won 8 in a row doesn't mean I'm going to win 9 and 10 in a row. Or in the vice versa. Just because you lost 2 in a row doesn't mean you're not going to win 3, 4 in a row, right? That's why you have to go with each one separately. You have to forget about it, right? Oh, by the way, guys, I used to write for grade 8. I was a poker pro, and I used to write articles for them, by the way. Just so you know, but it was always money management. Here we go. A great trader only have a 60 to 70% accuracy. Okay. Well, that's good because I don't know if I'm great, but we'll find out when I actually do real numbers, really pay attention because there's going to be some L's. So I just got to find out. So like right now, I did like probably $300, right? Somewhere in that area on the demo. 180 was the big one. Then I did some smaller ones. 180, 170, 180, somewhere in there. But the problem is, what about the ones I took an L on, right? How much further down would that have taken me? Now, I know what I started at, so I know I came up on the upside. So I'm giving you guys the overall profit because I know I started around 34 something. I ended at 38. So somewhere in there. So, but I still need to pay attention because I want to know what I'm doing. I want to know if I'm at, because I'm trying to get 80. So if you say 60, I'm pretty close. I'm pretty sure I'm at 60 already. 60 to 65 is what I'm estimating, but I haven't written it down. So I'm going to go check. But once I'm trying to get to 80, though, that's the thing, MDA. I'm trying to get to 80, if that's even possible. And into the percentage, you have to factor in your average gains and losses. At one point, I had an 80% accuracy, but wasn't profitable. Okay, that is interesting. How do you, I wish I could talk to you about that. How do you mean? There are strategies that can get you a high accuracy. I would say mine is about 85% accuracy. The problem is emotions will lower that accuracy. It's why most firms use AI and algos now. Yes, I agree with this. I agree with this because we have people. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you guys this. I unveiled it the other day. Some of you weren't here. And I'll be doing this trading stuff, right? So you'll know because you see how this has been for a while. Stop struggling now and all that. But I agree with this 100% because that is the emotion part of it. And you know what's very funny? What popped up on my screen tonight was Phil Ivey. He's been playing poker ever since he was getting into Atlantic City at underage, right? And playing poker. He admitted in this new video, he says, you know why I was good is because I took the emotion out of it. But unfortunately, because I turned off my emotion, it hurt my family because it was a way of life. So I had to turn off my emotions to play, and he used to play it 12 hours. So you can imagine somebody turning off their emotions for 12 hours and doing this 5 or 4 days a week. And then ordinarily walking up to other people with trying to be ordinary citizen. And quite frankly, I never met the guy ever. I never saw the guy ever at any event. He was allegedly there. He was with Full Tilt, and Full Tilt had a party. He wasn't there. Never seen him. He never really talked to people, never really said anything, would always come through the back whenever he came to his tables. He would come later. He was like this guy that was known to not really talk to people, not emotionally invested, not smacking fives, doing anything, even at the table, don't talk is what he's known for. But now he's saying, well, that's because I couldn't show emotion. And that's exactly what happens when money's involved. Just like gambling, just like anything that has to deal with money, emotions run high. And I agree. This is why having a computer program that has no emotion is much better. And that's why I feel much more confident, because since I think my poker playing actually helped me, because that is one of the things you can't really show any emotions when you're playing. You can't really give off any tells. So that changes things. And since I played with money management before, having to realize your limitations, you can't just, just because you have $100,000 doesn't mean you're supposed to bring to the table 25 grand, right? It's a golden rules. You should just use, 3%, 4% of your bankroll or whatever. So you play within your means, because if you lose and you said, oh, I'm coming here, I only have 100,000, but I'm coming here with 25, you lose 25 in one sitting. Now you only have 75. But what if you lose again? So you can't keep chopping off these big losses, right? So it's better to play within 3,000, 4,000. If you lose that, you can come back and play again, because you're not going to win all the time. You're only going to win, like my win rate, like I told you, was at one time 66% was my highest for like 3 years. But then as people got better, it started going down. So I had to play longer to make the same amount of money. Cash games. So now when it got down to where it was 50, 45, and I was like, okay, this is getting crazy. These guys are getting better. I'm not handling it very well. I shouldn't be playing this no more. And so that's what started happening. So when you realize that you're not meeting your goals that you need for money management, there's no reason to play. So I'm trying to make sure that I have a reason to play. We'll see how it goes. But I agree with that. Develop your own strategy and stick to it. Have your own checklist and don't get cocky or greedy. That's how you get jammed up. Exactly. I've been there. Go nice and easy first. Exactly. Exactly. I agree with that 110%. You have to be real. See, and again, because I've always done money management, I have no problem with restrictions. That's golden rules, because that's the only way that you get to keep stacking. You have to have money management skills, right? So just like any business, you have your profits and losses, and you have to figure out what you need to keep as a reserve. Same kind of thing. So this is no different for me. And again, I look at things differently. I don't panic because of it, because you already understand you only have X amount of money at risk. So even if you lose, you're like, well, I get to play again tomorrow, because I'm still within the money management. So if I win, great, because of course we won some, so we're ahead. But so I'll give people an example of what I'm referring to: money management. So let's say 100,000 is the bankroll, but you're not rolling to the table with the 100 G's. So you're rolling to the table, whatever you're playing stakes you're playing at, you roll with 3 grand, whatever. So now let's say you win 2 grand. Okay, so you started with 35, you win 2 grand. Some people would say, well, I'm going to keep playing, I'm rolling. Me, I'm like, 2 grand. That's I mean, okay, let's roll. I'll take this. This is good. See you guys later. Another day. So now I'm up 2 grand. But the next day, I come in and play, and same bankroll, same table stakes, and I sit there and say, okay, good, but I lose. Instead of 3,500, I have 2 grand. Okay, I lost 1,500. So somebody, you understand, even though I won 2,000, I lost 1,500. Sure, I'm ahead 500. But the fact of the matter is, I still am playing with money that I have. So you try to keep it within money management. Because if you go on now, look, I can go 4 grand, lose 2 grand, 4 grand, lose 1 grand, 4 grand, win 2 grand, 4 grand, win 4 grand. But notice I did 4 things. The fifth one, because I win 6 out of 10 times, now I have a profit at the end of, let's say, the month, and it says, okay, you have 8 grand. But during that 8 grand profit picture, I have 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 L's. But you got to keep going, right? So that's the way I look at this. I'm just like, okay, I set up, I see what I like, it's going down, I'm not even going to sweat. But I like that. Basically, if you want to trade for extra income, it's a good route, but get as much as you can and look for the exit. That's right. All my money going to dividend ETFs and companies. I agree with this 100%. That was already my strategy. That was my strategy right there. I have to agree with this 120%. I was thinking about, what am I going to do? Because this is different. I'm not playing poker. I akin it to poker. I say it's like poker, but I'm not playing poker. If I win, I have money that I want to put into some other vehicle that gives me passive money. Because remember, this right here, I have to do, which means I need time to do it. So I want to put it into something that's going to pay me passively. I agree with this 120. Put it in companies, ETFs, something that's going to increase in value or give me some money. That's what I want to see. I agree with this 120%. DIM pals, welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday Night Live Stream. Another investor's here. And he brings his tagline this evening. Good evening, all. Smash that like button. I love it. That's right. Give it a one piece. So, once again, I haven't put it on the screen yet, have I? Oh, yeah, I got to do this. Hold on a second, you guys. I got something. Where's that? Okay, here we go. So, I unveiled this on Monday. Look at this. Yes, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I am rocking with the Autobot, but I have to explain to everybody what happened in the last few days. If you're on the Autobot, you would have been great, because the Autobot tends to, if the market's going down, that's when the Autobot shines. I don't really know what to call it. It's kind of like it even when it goes up, because it does buys and sells. But the thing is, if it's trending down, it seems to give you much more on the upside as profit. So long as you understand that, then the next thing is, you better learn about the market, and you don't have to set it and forget it. And in fact, I would not advise setting and forgetting. I would advise you learn the market and then implement this into your playground. That's it. Because I'm going to do it, and I'm actually going to do it live. And that's the only thing about live. Live is, you want to see some activity being done. But the reality is, just like MDA was saying, you can't make that makes no sense. You can't make trades like every minute. You have to wait when it's an opportune time. When that comes, it could be 5 minutes later. It could be 10 minutes later, right? Or it could even be longer. Because the night before, I was sitting there And I watched for about 20 minutes the candles going up like 4 ticks or pips, however you guys want to do it, 4 or 5, and then go up 4 or 5, go down 4 or 5, go up 4 or 5, go down 3, go up 4, go up, go down 5. I was sitting there watching it for like 10 minutes. I was like, wait, there's 10. I'm doing the minute. 10 candles came across. I've never seen that, right? They all stayed within the same high and low. It was incredible, give or take a tick or two, right? I've never seen that. And I was like, man, how long is this going to? And I was just sitting there, 10 in a row, XAU USD. And I was like, that's unusual. But then I was like, I'm not going to wait and see what happens. But this is what I'm trying to say. You're not going to enter. You don't know when you're going to enter is what I'm trying to say. So that's what I found out. Good evening. He smashed all the like buttons. He's in the house. So anyhow, that's the Autobot that I was talking about. You want to go find out about it, you can see it on the screen, goldrushregister.info. It does have a 1 year and a lifetime, and I bought the lifetime, so I'm going to be using it. And I'm going to be doing live streams, and it's going to be very interesting. I'm going to use live streams, but I'm just going to use the demo because I still don't feel comfortable 100% yet because I'm still testing out some other things just to make sure I can do 80%. I'm trying. Now, I'm scared now because MDA said some of the best traders are 60 to 70%. So now I'm trying to be better than a great trader, which is a lofty goal. But am I really? When I do the real numbers, we'll find out what my real numbers are. I don't play with myself. I have to be frank, right? Any investor has to be frank with themselves. If my numbers, off the top of my head, if I feel I'm 60, 65, 70-ish in that range right now, maybe I am in my mind, but it better say it on paper. It better say when I write it down, it better be telling me that. And if it doesn't, and it says, Eric, you're only 30, then I still got work to do. If it says 40, if it says 50, I still got work to do because my goal is 80. I'm not trying to be at even 60, 70. I'm trying to get up to 80. And I think I can do it because, again, I told you guys before, I am that guy that goes to the roulette wheel and had a system when people didn't even know what I was doing. You don't even have to use that. You can just learn how to make your own algorithm. Yeah, I know under Chat GPT, friends of ours have done that, which is very, very interesting. So they did their own little bot, gave it its own parameters. I thought that was funny. Which forex pair do you prefer, USD, Euro? No, I'm still sticking with the golden XAU USD. I mean, I can do anyone. I haven't chosen any. To me, I just want. I think it's cool for volatility myself, but for me, I'm just staying with the XAU USD. It's volatile enough for now. I'll probably change to something else, but so far the charts are going to be the same, so it'll be fine. Euro USD is the best to me as far as price and movement. GBP USD if you want to take more size with a little less risk. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so like for me right now, I started with the XAU USD, right? So that's all I'm studying. I'm just going with those charts, I should say. But those charts work on every one, like MDA told me last week. I didn't realize that it was all universal. So that means I can actually trade on anything, right? So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't done anything with any currency pairs or any other pairs. I just did the XAU USD, and I'm probably going to stick with it because I like the movements. Um, and it seems, I mean, I'm not trying to do break the bank. I'm not trying to do like the friends who, one of my high school friends has been trading for a long time. And the other day they were like, yeah, I made like 5 grand on whatever. I don't know what they were doing, but it was like 5 grand. And I was just like, okay, this is interesting. Then they started telling me about, I, I guess it's prop trading, where they like give people like let's say $50 or $100, and then they got to go through some tests, and then after the test, then they get a real account like 50,000, and then you trade, and any of the profits then you can keep. But they give you a small window, so it was like I think 3 grand. If you go from 50 to 47, it blows your account, right? So you're done. So in order to get back, then you have to wait for the following month. Apparently, it's a monthly payment thing. I don't know nothing about this. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? So you can trade other people's money. Then they said, well, there's different ones. And there's a whole group of stuff. And they're saying, well, you can only withdraw. Some let you only withdraw 50%. Some make you have to win a few more, do a few days, then you can withdraw. They said everybody has different rules on these type of these systems that people let you use their money, I guess, is the best way I can describe it. I said, okay, that's pretty interesting. So you're risking like $50, $100, and then you do a test. And once you pass the test, then you have a live account, and then you can withdraw the money based on their rules. I said, all right, that's not bad. Not bad at all. I'll have to learn about that later. But right now, I need to get to where I can actually do the trading and get things done. So I'll start my testing personally probably tomorrow, because I'll be doing something tonight too. But tomorrow, I'm going to start writing it down. So then on Friday, I'll give you guys a report, let you guys know how it's going. And I might even do some live streams. Like I said, I'll put on that other cover that you saw, and talk about that Bible PDF. So, and then do some, like show on the screen. And I wish I could do like the poker rooms. That'd be awesome. That'd be so awesome. Where you can set up 3 different charts, things like that. Apparently you can, but who knows? I'm not deep into it yet. Because that'd be cool if you can have up 3 different charts and you can trade different charts on the same screen. I don't know if you guys know what I'm trying to talk about. If anybody plays poker, then you know you can pop up 4 tables, 8 tables, as many tables that you can fit on your screen. They just get smaller and smaller. But they're flexible, so you can make them larger and smaller. So you can always, I only played 4 usually. Sometimes I did 6, but that was rare. I always did 4. 4 is enough. That's 200 hands per hour. So there was no reason for me to try and do anything crazy. And by the way, I might as well tell you guys, I probably will be getting back into poker since I'm going to be on my computer. Like I told you, World Poker Tour. I'm trying to get in contact with them about some things, like old times. So far I haven't heard back from them, but we'll see. I mean, I have heard back from them, but they want me to have certain things in place, like websites and some other stuff. And I'm just like, okay, I can do that, but that wasn't what I'm talking about doing. But of course, I need a promo code, affiliate code, right? I mean, hey, if all the big boys have it, right? Like I said, Phil Ivey has his. WorldPoke, WPTClub.com or whatever. He's got his. I saw a few guys. They have theirs. So I need my promo code, right? That's what I'm told them. I said, I need my promo code. They're like, oh no, hold on. You've been retired. I said, yeah, I know, but I still need a promo code. They're like, well, what are you doing on social media? I said, nothing. I was like, I haven't done anything in like 5, 6 years. I'm like, maybe longer. So I don't have any social media stuff. I still need a promo code though. So they're messing with me. I'm messing with them because they're like, well, what the heck's this dude is talking crazy right now? I'm pretty sure that's what they're saying. I am talking crazy because I don't have anything like any real following. I do have people, but I told them, I said, no. In fact, just hook me up with the. I need a tournament. I need a tournament. And I'm gonna invite some guys that I know that play poker. They had World Series of Poker bracelets and all that. They'll be coming. They'll come and play in the tournament. They'll give you some promos. All right. So that's how we'll start this. Don't worry about the if I have something or not. We're gonna make it happen. So I don't know what they responded with, but we'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing the same thing I am saying tonight. Make your own money. You're the CEO of your life. So I'm implementing some other ways, expanding into other areas, going back into areas that I were, because with the poker and online, there's passive income that comes in from that. I probably won't be doing any announcing or anything like that, but you never know. So we'll see what happens. But that's what the deal is. Make your own money, ladies and gentlemen. And by doing trading, option trading, DIM Pals does option trading too. Dividend trading, Mr. Dividend, he gets his dividends every week. And now Yomax ETF does weekly payouts for 95% of their stocks. So now it's a weekly, which is awesome. Every Friday, people doing the salsa dance, right? Hold on a second. Yomax ETF, dividends. Oh, I should have said distributions, but it's all right. 10, 24, 25. Speaking of that, let me go check this out. Distribution 24. Oh, wow. Let's see. They got groups that's getting paid out this week. Let's see how much larger this. Oh, wait. This isn't talking to me. Global News Wire used to give me the. Oh, there it is. Okay. 16 hours ago. They're releasing these out a lot faster now. Let's go. Oh, my. Holy smokes. Everybody's on this block, it looks like. Holy smokes. Everybody's a weekly payout. Oh, wow. Oh, my. AIYY is 2.8 cents. ABNY, 14.9 cents. Let's see who's over $1. Anybody? 75 cents is RBLY. That's very interesting. That seems to be the highest. Nobody's over $1. Nobody. And 75 cents, 73 cents, PLTY. Wow. That's pretty good. Let's see who else is pretty high. 73 cents, HOOY. 62 cents, HIYY. I'm not familiar with them. 56 cents, 70 cents, DRAY. That's DraftKings. But still, this is very interesting. Very interesting, the weekly now. Almost every one. This is crazy. This is crazy. They even have short ETFs on this. Why? I'm not shorting, right? You shouldn't be shorting the markets. That's crazy right now. Federal Reserve going to reduce their interest rate? Is that what's happening? I can't even believe this. Let me see. October. Did it happen? Because I saw something and I thought it was yesterday. Okay, October 28th. Okay, so that was last year. No, it wasn't last year, was it? Couldn't be. They didn't reduce interest rates last year. So I don't know what I saw. He was talking crazy. I was like, no, you can't reduce interest rates. That would cause more inflation. What to expect? The markets expect Powell to cut rates by 0.25%. Yikes. Inflation isn't coming down. That's not what you're supposed to do. This is bad, ladies and gentlemen. They're going against financial norms. This is another reason you better be able to make money without a job on your own. I know I know there's a lot of people that's going to watch this and go, man, I don't have any skills. Well, you better get some. Look, I've been doing business my whole life. I'm sitting here trying to get new skills. I'm learning something. You got to be humble, ladies and gentlemen. And who's to say that I'm learning this for a month? Who's to say that I actually am going to be successful after spending all this time trying to get better? That doesn't necessarily guarantee that I'm going to be successful. But I'm trying to put myself in a position where I'm going to be successful by studying, being having to understand that I don't know how to do it and admitting to yourself I need help. And I have friends, luckily, that's helping. And with you guys here helping with your advice as well, because we have people that are doing trading. So they're giving their advice. That helps me and helps others as well, which is what we do here. So it's very nice that we have people here that do this and are willing to share their experiences and suggestions and recommendations. You should listen and pay attention because, like I said, MDA told me, he's like, hey, man, you shouldn't be using the bot. I was like, no, but the bot was making money. Then it lost money. Then I was like, let's go see. And he's right. I feel so much better now that I recognize what I'm looking at on a screen, on a chart, and what to expect too. And don't feel like I don't know what I'm looking at and don't know what I should do. I feel like I know what I should do. And I've been looking at people talking about the EMA moving average of 20 candles, the moving average of 200, moving average. I've seen people with 150, 2 minute charts, 1 minute charts, 15-minute charts, hourly. I'm like, these guys all over the place. I'm learning different people have different strategies and different ways of looking at stuff. Put all of this, I'm putting into the banks, and I'm sitting there like, hey, I like simplicity. So if simplicity works, it works. So it's just like anything else. You get information, find out different people are successful different ways. There's no one way. Different people use different things to be successful. It helps you to arm yourself with different things, right? Same thing. So make your own money, ladies and gentlemen, that you have to work for. I know a lot of people have a job, but it's worth it if hell in a handbasket comes, then you should be able to say, okay, no job, no nothing, but I have internet and I have a computer and I have a little bit of money. Let me go see what I can do in this market that is open 24/7 pretty much because there's other stock market exchanges open across the world. So again, you have opportunity. Nobody can stop you either, which is one of the things I like. So once you have this skill, nobody can stop you. You can be anywhere in the world and be good. So, you know, Fox Business was discussing Yomax ETFs yesterday, specifically GOOAMZY and a few others. Very interesting interview. Oh, that's interesting. Yomax ETFs are now paying Thursdays and Fridays. All depends on the ETF. Let me go check this out. I didn't see that. Hold on a second. Thursdays. It didn't mention Thursday. Hold on. Let's see. I think you might be getting. Oh, it just says weekly. It doesn't say what day. Hmm. That's cool too. Doing the salsa dance on a Thursday? That works. That really works. I love it. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Let's go. Most of those are trash. Have to look at their total return, not just the dividend yield. Yeah. The UMAX ETFs. He's right. Yeah. You're gonna have to pay attention to the stock price. Again, highly recommended because it's going to be a volatile situation going forward. And for a new person who gets into the UMAX ETFs, if you buy a stock for $10 and you bought 100 shares, that's $1,000 at $10. What if that share goes down to $8.50 and now you're at $850? And then because you have those 100 shares, you get 15 cents. So now your net is 865. But now next week, well, I shouldn't say next. Now they've changed it. But I can use that because that's YMAX and YMAG. So the next week, 15 cents. So you got $15. So let's just say in the month, you did get back $60, but you're still down 90 and you're at risk because again, if there's a market sell off, now all of a sudden the 850 goes to 8. Now you're back down, right? So these are the things you have to look at with YieldMax because they're not a stock, they're not a corporation, they're a distribution. That's what they're doing. They do option income trading for like Amazon or Netflix or Palantir or Robinhood. So they give you the profits from that money and then they take a cut. Okay, small one, but still it's significant in reality. But the point is, they give you your distribution, but since it's not a company, the stock price is volatile. It can drop. It can go up too, but it can also decrease because you're taking all the money, almost all, and distributing out in dividends. There's no assets that's generating income. That's why their stock price falls. Now, just keep that in mind. So pay attention. So it's always, I shouldn't say always, but for me, if you're going to enter in the YieldMax ETF right now, you have to go in when the market has went down significantly. And also probably wait until after hours, which is tonight, which is now, because there's usually a drop after hours. Okay? That would be good entry points. Just saying, if it's, SMCY 24 cents, SNOY 14 cents, TSLY 16 cents this week, but these are weekly payouts. These weekly payouts could be hefty. But again, you got to be cognizant of the stock price because you can't, like I say, you can't go and you put in $5,000 and all of a sudden, one fell swoop, the price, because of the stock price, is now down to 4,500, and then worry about getting $50 in dividends. You would have to wait 8 months just to get back if that stock price just stays the same. And then after that, you're back to good. But I'm just saying, you're putting yourself in a situation. So you got to be very careful on your entry points with YieldMax ETFs, all right? Just keep that in mind. Everybody else who's in and you're on that upward slide, your dividends is buying these cheaper stocks. So your dollar cost average comes down. So you're in a better position to stay and reap some rewards as long as they don't go to zero. All right. Trump idea to buy beef from Argentina will hurt U.S. ranchers. GOP Senator warns. Yeah, you think? Why aren't you buying it from the United States farmers? Crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up tonight. I want to thank you guys for being here. I love you guys very much. But just keep in mind, nobody's coming to save you. You're going to have to figure out. Okay, that's interesting. I don't, I didn't do anything. Very interesting. But just keep in mind, nobody's coming to save you. Okay, you're going to have to figure this out yourself. And again, more than ever, this is not your grandfather's or your mother's job force. You don't get to generally just hang out for 35, 40 years and retire and get a pension and have your 401k and all that. There is no guarantee of that happening. For a large percentage of the population, unions don't exist as much anymore, down to single digits, 2% or 1% of the population's in a union. Used to be a higher number. The labor laws are less than what they used to be. So all of this comes into play where they can now, turn you into part-time, talking about, well, we don't want to cover your health care or anything else. So you get 36 hours. You don't get 40. dodging all these things that companies and corporations used to help their employees with. So they would have health care, they would have 401ks, they would match, they would do all these things, but that is getting harder to come by. So you could find yourself going to have to rely on you. So stack, get your duffel bags of cash already, because let's just face facts. What's happened with Bitcoin recently? It went down. It was at 107, right? I'm just saying, 106. For some people, that's a great entry point. People started selling off some Bitcoin because people are starting to question, like, wait, the stock market went up or down. Bitcoin went up or down with the stock market. So they're like, wait a minute, that's not a hedge against anything. So you see what I'm saying? You're going to have to figure out something, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of pairs, BTC USD, I see people doing trades on that too, which should be volatile as well. So anyhow, with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here, but that's what we try and do. Make it not so hard for you by giving you a preview of what's to come. Because the sooner you understand that you don't know what the future is going to hold in this environment that we're in right now, you should prepare for the worst. All right? That's part of stop struggling now, because you never know what's going to happen. So just make sure you stay safe out here, because you don't never know what somebody's going through. There's a lot of people acting all kind of weird ways to provoke people, whether you're at the football game, at a basketball game, at the grocery store, just getting out of your car. People are losing their minds. All right. So you're going to have to stay calm, not to lose your mind and get involved in some mayhem. So just stay true to yourself. Watch your family, keep them safe, yourself safe. And I'll see you on Friday night, I hope, at 9-10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with all that said, no matter what else you do, you always have to keep your head up. Keep moving.